What is happening, guys? Welcome to episode 87 of The Fun Waste of Time. I am your host, Tarrus, and on this episode of the show, unfortunately, the regular cast of characters, my crew, the fellas that I typically hang out with, they weren't able to make this episode. We decided to record a little later in the month this month, and they had other priorities that they needed to take care of. So they will catch us in the next episode in a few weeks. So I am flying solo this episode, but I have a special guest with me, and I cannot wait to introduce him to you. But what we're going to be talking about on the show this episode is this is going to be a video game centric episode. Last month, right after we finished our last episode, Xbox did their Developer Direct showcase, showcasing just a few of the games that are going to be coming out to the platform a little later this year. Really excited to discuss that with you. And then just about a week or so from the time of recording this particular episode, PlayStation did their State of Play. And it was a pretty big showcase. So we'll talk about what went on there as well. But before we get into that, I want to bring in my special guest. This guy is a home theater enthusiast through and through. Now, here on The Fun Waste of Time, those of you that are listening to us for maybe the first time, we talk movies, TV, video games, home theater, comic books, anything that's considered a fun way to waste your day. That's what we do. We are a hobbyist podcast. And the guy that I'm about to bring on, he's a good friend of mine. He's my workout partner. He is in the movie group that I'm in, and he loves these hobbies just as much as I do. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to bring on my good buddy, JD. What is happening, JD?
How's it going, Tarrus? Oh, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, it is so exciting to have you here, and thank you for doing this last minute. Though folks don't know, but we were supposed to record the episode last night, but I started getting some texts and calls from the fellas telling me about some of the other obligations that they had. And initially, I was going to record the episode solo, just by myself. I actually recorded the episode solo, and JD and I were working out this morning, and I asked him, I was like, hey, JD, how would you feel about joining me on the podcast and talking a little video games with me? And to my surprise, ladies and gentlemen, this man had the biggest smile, the most positive attitude. Let's do it. I was
Yes,
so happy to
sir.
hear that.
All right.
Yeah, really, really excited to have you here. So normally what we do, JD, on The Fun Waste of Time, whenever we get new guests on the show, we typically like to just learn a little bit about them when it comes to their hobbies. We don't need your whole life story. We just want you to tell us a little bit about what are some of those things that you like to do that you would consider a fun way to waste your day, your hobbies, the things you're into, how you like to experience them. Would you mind sharing just a little bit of that with
For
us?
sure. So, I'm a home theater hubby father. I built this whole room under the false imagination that my whole family would be in here. These back row seats that you see, it was going to be the wife and I in the middle, one kid to the left, one kid to the right. None of that happened. I'm usually in this seat right here in front, enjoying everything by myself. And just the simple fact that they knock on the door and say, hey, I want to bang out with you. It's just the joy of my life. I mean, you don't see the back row right here, but there's a bunch of blankets because it was a fort we're building back there. So, it just really changed my whole imagination of what this room would be. And I love it even more so because the kids love it too. But gaming is a big, huge thing for me since I was a child. I mean, the Atari, Nintendo, those were games where I didn't play because my brothers and sisters let me play it, but I got to watch. I didn't get to play the games until I got my own PlayStation. So, gaming is really a big part of my life. RPG, role-playing games. You give me a game that's 30, 40, 60 hours, I'm in. Hard bosses, I love all of it. I like the side scrollers too. I'm interested in any type of game for the most part.
And I can attest to that because he and I started gaming together just a little while ago. And man, the dude, he's good, man. I thought I was decent, but he's got me beat. He's playing games that I absolutely love, but could come nowhere near finishing them as tough as they are and as challenging as they are. Elden Ring, Sekiro, games that I just love the world building in, but I just don't have the cojones to sit through and try to play them because it would be embarrassing as bad as I would be getting beat with them. So yeah, he's definitely.
That's where I disagree. That's where I disagree. He is he's a very good gamer. Okay, the difference is that I won't give up. That's the problem. I probably get beat up just as much, but I just can't stop. I just can't stop. So, muscle memory, you learn how to do it. So,
well, when you hit my age, JD, your patience, you lose a little bit of patience. Your life is shortened just a little bit more. So you try to make every moment last.
Hey, I'm only like probably 5-10 years from getting that same color white that you got right there. Okay.
Hey, and when it comes, man, just embrace it. Embrace it proudly.
Will do.
Now, what I'm doing right now, guys, is I'm just showing you some of JD's room just to show you how serious of a home theater enthusiast he is. The guy has 32-inch subwoofer in the back of his theater, two 21-inch subwoofers in the front stage under his screen. He's got a 7.3.6 Dolby Atmos configuration.
11.
Excuse me. What was
you
that?
Shorted me by 4. You shorted me by 4, but that's okay.
Let them know what it is, please.
I started with the 7. It was pre-built for 9, right? So I didn't have wide speakers. I didn't have a second row of side speakers, but we had it all wired for that. My builder, Cameron Troy, did a great job on the room. A lot of what you're seeing here is, his artwork, his imagination of what the room would be, and he built it to be such. The artist was Lee Bivens. He does home theater murals. I wanted go that route instead of looking into the more traditional, what's that, LED, fiber optic ceilings or whatever. So, and I love it. It has our family zodiac signs in the ceiling.
That's
so
awesome.
It really personalized to us, and we just let the artist be the artist in both situations, for the mural and for the theater room, and it came out amazing.
It really did, guys. And like I said, we are a part of a home theater group out here in the the greater San Antonio region, because some of us live in some outskirts cities outside of San Antonio, greater San Antonio. And every other week we go to each other's theaters to experience watching movies in our spaces. And it is the most amazing thing anybody with a home theater can actually do, to have that shared experience of all the blood, sweat, tears, and resources that you put in to making it a fantastic space that you love to spend time in. And to have others who are passionate about that same hobby and who put as much blood, sweat, tears, resources into their spaces as you did, it is an amazing, amazing experience. And I can attest to how awesome his space is. I mean, it is, when I say that there's no commercial theater that can top my theater, it is the same for JD's. It is the same for a lot of the other guys in the movie group as well. So this guy has an amazing space, and what we're planning to do, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode with him, is because eventually we are going to do some home theater experience, HTX episodes of The Fun Waste of Time, where we do an update on my theater, because I've made some serious upgrades in my space over the last 5 years since I last did my main tour back in 2020, 2021. And I wanted JD to be a part of that experience because of his experience with home theater, and how much of a fantastic space he has, and how much he actually enjoys being out in the home theater community. He's gone to CEDIA many times. He's been to, some other home theater shows and that kind of thing. So he really likes to get out there and get involved in the home theater community. And for that reason, he's going to be a fantastic person to do an updated tour of my space with. And he also agreed to do an upgraded tour with his as well at some point. So you guys can expect that to come a little later on down the line. But I am so, so happy to have you here, JD. And we're just going to have a great time today. This is just a conversation, my man. I know is this your first podcast?
First podcast, yeah.
It is just going to be a conversation, man. The Fun Waste of Time is all about having fun and just having a darn good time. So no stress. We're just going to let the content take us where it wants to go. We'll do probably about, say, an hour, anywhere from, say, an hour to about an hour 90 or so, 90 minutes. But we're just going to let the conversation take us where it wants to go.
All right.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and get things kicked off, guys? And we're going to talk video games.
Video games. The Fun Waste of Time Podcast. Pick up the controller. Video games. Video games. Video games.
Now, since we were last together, we last did the episode, Xbox held a developer direct late January highlighting new and exciting games coming to the Xbox platform later this year. And then just a few weeks ago, as I stated earlier, PlayStation held their first State of Play showcase of 2026, featuring games coming to PlayStation over the next year or so, and it was a good one as well. Now, while Xbox Developer Direct featured deep dives on just a few big titles coming to the platform this year, PlayStation held a full hour-long showcase rivaling what they used to do back in the E3 days, with a few bangers thrown in here or there, and some surprises sprinkled in between for good measure. Now, it's been a while since PlayStation held a showcase of this stature, while Xbox has continued to do so within their summer showcases over the past few years. So what we're going to do is take a look at some of the more exciting announcements to come out of both the Xbox Developer Direct and the PlayStation State of Play showcases and share our thoughts on what was shown. We're not going to go over everything that was shown in each showcase, but we will hit the highlights of what got us excited. Now, before we actually start out with the Xbox Developer Direct, the one thing that I wanted to share with you guys is, as I was watching the Xbox Developer Direct, the first game that they showed got me a bit excited because over the past, say, 4 months, I've gotten into racing sims and racing arcade games. So much so that I decided to build me a portable racing rig. And what you're seeing here is the rig that I typically use when I'm playing racing games. Now, normally I'm playing on PC. I like to play iRacing. iRacing is more of a hardcore simulation type of racer. I'm not saying I'm good, because I am not. I do not like spoiling people's games because I cannot drive. I cannot drive a stick to save my life, JD.
Let the record show I haven't received an invite to play the simulator he talked about for how long before we bought it. So
All right.
I'm still waiting for that invite.
Well, today's the day after the show. You're gonna get the invite. But I really do enjoy playing sim racers. And typically, like I said, what I'll do is I'll take it, because it's a portable rig, I can take it from the theater, and then I can move it into the game room and play on the PlayStation and Xbox there. And the reason I say that this Developer Direct from Xbox was exciting to me is because there was a game that they announced they are going to be releasing this year, and I believe it's coming in May. We can actually check the release date here in a moment, but I am a big fan of Xbox and their game, Forza Horizon. So Xbox is actually releasing a new Forza Horizon game. This is Forza Horizon 6. This is going to take place in Japan. And last Forza Horizon, it took place in Mexico, and it was just a fun, fantastic arcadey games. I mean, you could run some courses and that kind of thing with it too, but really it was just kind of a fun ride. It takes you all over the country. You're seeing all different types of things. And the cool thing about them taking this particular iteration of the game to Japan is Japan has some really, really cool landscapes, some really cool architecture there for folks to get involved in. And they've got a really strong car culture out in Japan. They've got a really strong driving culture. I think drifting is really big out in Japan as well. That's a lot of the ways they like to test their driving, as you can see here out there. So I am really looking forward to this game. Playground Games is making it, and they've made all of the Forza Horizon games since its inception, from 1 all the way to now 6. So you know it's going to be an awesome game because they've got a fantastic pedigree with development of this game. Usually when it reviews as 9s and 10s by most video game review companies out there, platforms and sites. So let me go to JD. JD, have you ever played the Forza Horizon games? And if you have, what do you think of them?
Oh yeah. for the first one from Xbox when it came out. Beautiful. It was actually Forza Motorsport. I started with that, and then Forza Horizon, played those games as well. Just beautiful. I mean, the co-op option in that game. A friend, buddy of mine, and I believe is in Nashville. We would play these games as much as we possibly could. I mean, we would always get these Lamborghini cars or whatever, and no one actually plays Forza to drive normal. Okay, so the things that we do in that game make no sense at all. But it's just a beautiful game, and I mean, when I look at Forza, I mean, is there anything else that's near this type of game and quality? I mean, besides, of course, Gran Turismo, but it's a whole different situation here with Forza. Man, it's just great for the Xbox.
It really is, and for console, it's really up there. Supposedly, Gran Turismo is fantastic. I haven't played a Gran Turismo since I played it on the PS3 years ago. But when it comes to console, the one thing I got to give Xbox is they put these Forza games out on a very regular basis compared to Gran Turismo when it coming out.
Oh yeah,
once like half a decade or something like
yeah,
that.
that's why
that.
I forgot to mention it because I have the VR version of it, and that is a spectacle in itself. But
do you?
Oh yeah, I have the I think it's the VR PlayStation 2 or whatever, and it's really nice to show people who've never seen something like that before, and just you got it on your headset, and you turn around, and it's like someone's next to you, and you're waving. But but yeah, this is about Forza though. It's about Forza, okay? We stop talking about Gran Turismo.
Here's the thing though. You got that VR rig. The only thing that you need is a real racing rig and to go along with that VR rig. Playing on your controller. I think that's one of the reasons why I couldn't get into it as much as I actually would have loved to.
I agree with you with that one, and the reason why is that Rob from what is Austin, right?
Yes.
He invited us over for a home theater viewing of his home, and it was amazing, a beautiful home theater, and he pulled out the simulator. Oh man, I understand completely now why people have those things. It's amazing.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm gonna go ahead and cop up. I actually visited Rob's theater. Probably it was sometime over the summer, I believe. And for those that don't know, if you go to my Fun Waste of Time Instagram page, there is some photos of Rob's theater there, and you can actually see the racing rig and some of the photos that I have there.
Yeah.
But the guy has an amazing theater.
Wow.
And that was the first time that I'd actually experienced a portable racing rig utilized in a theater. And months later, I decided to go ahead and jump into some racing a little bit more. But based on having that positive experience with his theater and his rig, that's what made me jump in and do my own. But man, Rob's an amazing guy, amazing theater.
Yes.
Racing, and here's the thing about his rig. My rig cost a pretty penny, but I don't think it cost anywhere near what his did, because when I remember sitting down in front of his theater, in front of that rig, trying to control the wheel and the motor there. And he's got I think it's a Fanatec racing rig, right wheel. That motor was so darn strong, dude, that it was hard to hold it straight. It was like driving a real car. Now mine isn't that strong, but it still feels more realistic than what you would have if you were to use, some budget wheels. Mine is definitely not a budget wheel, but his was for serious aficionados of racing simulations, I will say.
Torres, you don't have the Timo rig. I know. I saw it. You don't have the Timo version.
No,
okay?
I'm not that hardcore. Not that hardcore.
Yeah.
So that was Forza Horizon 6. That's going to be in Japan, coming to Xbox here in May, I believe. I believe May is the date that it's going to be releasing. And another game that they actually showed at the Xbox Developer Direct is a game that's a third-party game to Xbox. This is not one that's owned or being made by their internal studios. The developer that's actually making this game is a developer called Game Freak. And Game Freak, they've been around for a very long time. Since like 1989. Dang near 40 years making games. Wow. They've been making the Pokemon games for Nintendo since 1996. For 30 years now. And they've sprinkled some other games that they've made in between there. But for the most part, they've been making Pokemon games. And this is the first third-person, more mature live action game that the studios actually made. And they did state that in the developer direct, if you had the opportunity to watch that. But it's a fantastic looking game. It kind of reminds me of, it's almost got a Souls-like feel when it comes to fighting some of the bosses that we'll get to see here in a bit. But really, really love the world that they built here and how it deals a lot with the world dying. There's a blight on most living things in the world. And I guess this particular protagonist is there to try to remove the blight from the world. But the combat looks pretty darn cool. Even reminds me of another game that I played about 4 years ago called Kena Bridge of Spirits, which was a PlayStation exclusive. And it dealt a lot with there being a blight on the world, a lot of plant-based combat, that kind of thing. And there was a lot of spirituality involved because she was basically kind of a medium that was releasing spirits in the world that were trapped here on Earth and sending them out to the afterlife. But this game kind of reminds me of that a little bit too. But looking at the combat of this, JD, looking at the world building that they've done here, does this look like something that you would potentially be interested in playing?
Oh, definitely. I would definitely looking to play this game. It reminds me a little bit of the air combat, maybe a little Devil May Cry with a game. Yes. The prototype is a little bit in there too with some of the, that I'm really digging what I'm seeing right there. Yeah, that right there. I would definitely pick this up and give it a try for sure. I mean, if it's going to be on Game Pass, I'll have to look in to get that. That makes it that much more easier for me to get into this one for sure.
First, you got to resubscribe to that Game Pass that you just canceled a few weeks ago.
Yes. Oh, man. So I got people who don't know that yet. It's like a week fresh, okay? So let me explain. So I haven't been really playing much of the Xbox. I mean, I have the Xbox mainly for the, online gaming with the buddies. And it's just been sitting there, just hitting the bank account constantly since 2000 probably. What was that, 26 years? I was like, you know what? I think I'm done right now. And you know what I did immediately after? I got a year subscription to the PlayStation Store. But you know why? That's because of you, sir. Because you seem to play more, and and you're the new homie that's going to be playing video games with me. So I got to get that PlayStation subscription. So I just flipped it a little bit. And so hopefully if the buddies see this, they'll understand. When I get that invite again, maybe I'll think about getting my subscription back, okay?
Tell them it wasn't personal. It wasn't personal. It was just
it was personal.
A little too hard.
It was personal, because I could have kept paying for no problem, but I'm just like, it was the principle.
Hey, I'm not going to lie to you, man. You are a bad influence. You're a bad influence, and I'm going to tell you why.
All right.
There was an announcement that came out today, and this is kind of off topic of the, it's on topic, but it's off topic of the showcases. And we'll talk about it at another date, but I just kind of want to throw it in there to acknowledge that it's happened. Xbox is going through a leadership transition right now.
Yes, I heard.
Phil Spencer, who's been the president of Xbox Studios, of Xbox, Microsoft, for the last 13 years, since 2013, he basically has been forced to retire. Jeez. And Sarah Bond, who was his right-hand woman, and who was expected to take over the mantle from him once he retired, she just up and quit out of the blue. So there's been some turmoil going on over at Microsoft. And with a lot of the practices they've been putting in place with Game Pass and some of the business strategies they've utilized over these last couple of years, I've been turned off a little bit from Xbox. Yeah. So once I heard you cancel your subscription, and then all of this mess going on with Microsoft and Phil Spencer retiring and Sarah Bond deciding to move on, I canceled my my Game Pass Ultimate subscription too. Wow. Yeah, I kind of did. Yeah. And it's probably been longer for me to play something on Xbox than it may have for you. And I've been playing $30 a month ever since they announced the price increase, but I've not really played anything. There hasn't been anything that's captured me to want to sit down and play on Xbox.
Agreed. So
I fully understand you moving on from Game Pass and going over to PlayStation Plus and picking up one of their premium subscriptions over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of disappointing, but
Yeah, I think it's clearly because the whole thing happened with Phil Spencer because I canceled my subscription. That had to have been what happened.
Well, yeah, but you
Yeah,
canceled yours before the news came out, though. That's the only
that
problem.
is true. So they found out about it. They found out about it, and then it was like, hey, if he's leaving, we gotta go.
I love it. Hey, I'll give you the excuse. Okay, man.
Yeah.
You Phil Spencer. I get it, bro.
Oh man.
So getting back to the Xbox Developer Direct, the next game that they actually announced was Fable. Now, Fable was announced about 5 years ago, but the thing about Fable is they took their time developing this game, and I'm so happy that they did, because there have been so many games that have been coming out that just really haven't been all that finished. And it was announced 5 years ago. They've been working on it ever since. The studio that's making it is the same studio that's making Forza Horizon 6, Playground Games. And because of their pedigree of making these racing games and how high they typically review, a lot of people were excited about the potential of them making a new Fable game. And look at the gameplay here. The gameplay just looks freaking phenomenal. Graphically, it looks amazing. I think they're using Unreal Engine 5 for it. There's a morality system within Fable games, from what I understand. I've never really been big into playing some of the prior Fable games, but a lot of people have. My wife was really big into it. But there's a morality system where you can play as either good or evil or anything in between.
Yeah.
There's an economic system where you can buy and rent property, homes. You can kick tenants out that you don't like. So there's a lot of flexibility with how you utilize your character in this world. And then there are other simulation elements as well, kind of like with you can marry or you can raise kids. There's all kinds of crazy things that you can do, kind of like The Sims. With how deep you can get into The Sims with some of their systems. It seems that Fable is going to be, or at least have a certain level of that detail with being able to build your world and live out your world. So really, really looking forward to checking this one out as someone who's never really been big into some of the prior Fable games. But what do you think of this? Have you ever played any of the Fable games, JD?
Oh yeah,
And
I've
how does
played
this look to
all
you?
of them, and I've
Did you finish
enjoyed
them?
all of them. Yes, finished all of them. And as they're doing little nods out to the original games, with the chicken soup, the chicken chaser thing, and that's right there. So yeah, I really appreciate them doing that little call out, little Easter egg right there. So they were unique games. I mean, it didn't really matter as far as what the quality looked like at that time. I mean, you compare graphics to some of the games that were coming around that time, and just the gameplay. It was a really fun game to explore. The story was a great story too. It really, brings you into the whole element of the Fable world. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they do this with that studio. So it's on my list for sure. And it's not the infamous list we talk about. This is the real list of things I'm actually going to play. We have a side list that I call the infamous list of items that go on this list that I may never watch, even though I want to. But this is going to go on the real list of things that I do. Okay?
We'll see. We'll see. See, JD has a movie and games infamous list.
Yeah.
I've got a comic book list that one of the fellows on the show, Anthony, typically likes to throw our way, recommended reading. And I always tell him, okay, I'm going to put that on my list and never really get around to it.
We mean well. We want to. We do.
Absolutely.
We do. It's just...
Listen, we're good people. We don't lie
are.
intentionally.
No.
All right, guys. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break and we're going to move on to the PlayStation State of Play.
Calling all video game, movie, TV, and home theatre fans. You're listening to the Fun Waste of Time podcast, where we love to talk shop about your favourite hobbies and all the fun ways to waste your day.
Now, PlayStation held their State of Play last week as of the time of this recording. And I got to tell you, it was a really fantastic State of Play. I was really excited to see this. Once every blue moon, they will have a State of Play where they just knock it out of the park. That's on par as I stated earlier, with what they used to do at E3, and then what Jeff Keighley does with his Summer Game Showcase, right? There's an actual presentation of a lot of the exclusive games that are coming to PlayStation. There's as well as some of the third-party partnerships that they've set up with a lot of other developers and publishers. But the first game that they actually showed at the State of Play was a sequel to a game that I actually enjoyed quite a bit when it first came out back in, I think it was 2022, 2021, somewhere around there, called Kena Bridge of Spirits. Now, this game is called Kena Scars of Cosmora, and it's a really, really good-looking game. It looks like they took a lot of notes from Kena Bridge of Spirits, and they just made this game better. And it doesn't look like iterative improvements either. It looks like they really made some advanced improvements on a lot of the world building, a lot of the combat in the game, and the storytelling. The one thing I really do enjoy about the game is it's got this Pixar-inspired design, and this particular iteration of the second game has a more mature aesthetic, while not photorealistic, because Kena is aged up a bit more compared to the first game. It still gives the sequel a little more of a grounded look, which is what's really, really cool to see. But I really enjoyed that first game. I played Kena Bridge of Spirits probably about maybe 12 hours. I didn't finish it because something else came out and I wanted to jump on that. But I really enjoyed my time playing it. Look at the combat in this, man. Tell me that doesn't look awesome. Oh my gosh. But JD, what do you think of what you're seeing here with Kena Scars of Cosmora?
No, it actually looks very compelling as far as me getting into the first Kena. I've never played the game. I was very aware of it at the time. PlayStation for me around that time was more for exclusivities like your God of War, your Infamous games. So I've never got into this game, but what I'm seeing, it makes me feel like, do I need to go back to the original game? Is this something I can start off with? You know? But
yeah, I don't think you need to. This more than likely is going to be a standalone game. If you want to experience what the full story of the franchise is, then yeah, you can go back and experience the story.
Right.
But when it comes to the gameplay, the game looks like it plays very similar to the first game, but just better. You know, but
it's better.
I didn't even really finish the first game, so the fact that I'm
Gotcha.
excited about it tells you. You don't have to go back and play that first one, more than likely to enjoy the second.
What stopped you from finishing?
You know, I think it came around the time, I think it came out 2021. There was something big that came out around that time. Because I was going to try to finish it up in like a week or two. And then something big dropped. And I just kind of moved off of it and moved on to the next big thing.
Okay.
But it is no reflection on the game being a bad game or a poor game. It's a really, really good game. But something else kind of caught my attention that I was a little more into. I think it came out around the same time. No, it didn't actually. I was going to say at the same time that Lords of the Fallen did, the 2023 version, but this one came out, I think, a little earlier than that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think definitely earlier.
But awesome way to start their State of Play showcase. And then after Kena Scars of Cosmora, PlayStation went and showed something that I think got a lot of the guys on the podcast excited, because 2025, our favorite game of the year, was this game here. And let me tell you, when we saw that they were getting ready to drop this multiplayer mode, boy, everybody on the podcast was extremely happy because of how much we loved Ghost of Yote. Ghost of Yote was our 2025 game of the year. I think for me, Anthony, and I think Jason also played it as well. I don't think James played it, but we all absolutely loved Ghost of Yote. Now, the first game in the Ghost franchise, Ghost of Tsushima, had a multiplayer mode, a co-op multiplayer mode that came out about maybe 4 months after the campaign game came out. And it was only a 2-player mode game. So some buddies and I believe Anthony, James, and I, we were doing a lot of co-op at that time, playing The Division and some other things. And then we tried to jump into Ghost of Tsushima Ghost. Ghost of Tsushima Legends, when it came out back in October of 2020. But then we realized it was only a 2-person co-op game. So I stepped away and I let them go ahead and finish the game together. And they had a fantastic time playing. And I'm really excited about this one because it is a 4-player co-op game as opposed to a 2-player, which is what Tsushima was. But it's coming out real soon, JD, March 10th.
Yeah.
Now, you played Ghost of Yotei. What are your
Right.
impressions of this Legends co-op multiplayer mode?
I'm excited for it because I think it was Ghost of Tsushima when it came out. Beat the game, loved the game, and then the element came out with the co-play, and then like I don't have those friends on PlayStation, and I was just upset. I'm over here trying to solo by myself. Wouldn't even let me get in the game. I was that desperate to play, you know. And I'm that kind of shy guy where I was like, I'm not just going to jump into a lobby, you know.
Yeah,
You know, so I was like, you know, I guess I'm just not going to play this game. But so when I've heard about this, you and I both kind of been following it. We had an idea it was going to come out. So this is a definite. We need to play this game together. I would like to be a part of that party.
Yeah, we're definitely going to jump into this, man. Let me tell you, the combat mechanics in the Ghost games, whether it's Tsushima or Yotei, are just freaking second to none. They are phenomenal how good the combat and how good the movement feels. And the only thing missing from the campaign games is being able to play with your buddies. Now we get the opportunity to actually do that with as fantastic as combat as the Ghost franchise has. So it's really exciting that it comes out in a few weeks from now, right? It's mid-February now, and the game comes out, I think, in about maybe 3 weeks from now. So really, really looking forward to jumping into this one.
And I see that being the future too. I could see maybe the next iteration of the Ghost franchise starts off with co-op, maybe for the story as well, or at least with the multiplayer element that you see here.
You know, that's a very good point. And the reason I think it's a very good point, JD, is because they've done everything that they can do with the campaign single player, right? I'm sure there's more story that they can tell, but in order to keep things fresh, the way that they could actually do that is to give players at least a 2-player campaign, right? If you give them a 2-player campaign, and you don't have to do the whole friend pass thing where only one person has to purchase the game and then your buddy has a friend patch. Both of them can buy the game or have to buy the game and play it co-op together. I think everybody, based on the pedigree of how fantastic this franchise is, will be willing to purchase 2 copies of the game to play 2-person co-op.
No, I completely agree.
Yep. So the next game that they announced at the State of Play, and it really wasn't an announcement because the game's already been announced, but they gave us a gameplay, kind of a first look gameplay trailer. And this is a game called For Loop. And For Loop is a 4-person multiplayer game, and it looks kind of interesting. The creator of this and the developer of this is the same developer that created Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead was my jam back in the early 2000s.
Same here.
Absolutely loved the co-op in that game. Had never seen anything like it before. And this seems to be inspired by that, but I'm just not I'm not sold on the gameplay mechanics of it just yet. Because I like the way the combat looks. I like some of the things that you're doing, but what turned me off is they stated it's a roguelike. You die and then you come back stronger and get a little further in the mission. Those mechanics turn me off. I'm just not a fan of roguelike games. I know that you can deal with it a little bit more, being into, and we'll talk a little bit later about some of the games that you're playing. But me, kind of a turnoff. But because it's a 4-player co-op game, I am absolutely willing to give it a try to see what it's all about. How does this look to you? What do you think of this?
It's definitely up my alley. I mean, when you brought up, of course, Left 4 Dead, that immediately made me feel guilty about canceling my subscription because that was the game we would play also, was Left 4 Dead. And we have a lot of fun stories about that. And I'm a big fan of this developer and the games that they've made. I would give it a try with the right party, you know. And this has Bad Robot a part of it too, right?
Yeah, actually, Bad Robot Games.
Right. So that is something I didn't know JJ was making games. So I'm interested in everything that he does. So for the most part, I'll give it a try with the right party, you know.
And I think that's a good attitude to have. At least give it a chance to see what it's all about, because it might surprise me, you know, and make me want to come back to it. I think the only multiplayer game that really has held me for over a significant amount of hours was Helldivers on PlayStation 5. I don't know if you had the chance to play Helldivers yet, but I put 165 hours into playing Helldivers, and it's not a roguelike or anything. It's an extraction shooter, but the combat just felt so good. The world felt really cool to be in. Playing with your buds. I was playing with my brother a lot. Elements like that made it really, really fun to come back to. So you never know. Maybe 4Loop has some elements of that just may keep me coming back and wanting to play it.
Yeah, they do kind of look similar too, as far as just that a little bit of that mechanic from what you showed me from Helldivers and what I've seen from others playing and what I've researched on it. But again, that was one of the PlayStation things back in the day. But I believe they came out now. It's for Xbox too, and they have like a Halo edition for Helldivers.
They do, yeah.
So
they do. Maybe that's one game a little later in the future, man, you and I can jump into, and I can give you the experience of checking it out and playing. And it'll be new for me because I haven't played since the game first released, almost 2 years ago now, about a year and a half ago now. But fantastic game. I put 165 hours into that game.
Oh no, you popped it in probably 6 months or a year ago when you showed it to me. You weren't that good anymore, so you probably should.
The story of my life,
stuff.
JD.
Yeah. So sorry.
Now I remember showing you because when we first started hanging out, I was showing JD the experience of gaming in my theater, because at the time JD really wasn't gaming his theater a lot at that time, and I designed my theater specifically for gaming, which is important to me. And I was just showing him, some games and how they play in the space and whatnot, and hoping he would take to it and start doing it a little bit more in his space, and maybe even come to my place and we could play together here. And Helldivers was one of the ones that I showed, and as soon as I got in the game, I think I died by one of the bugs killing me just as soon as I landed. So
it was a small bug too. It was really weird. It was like this is what this game is about. It's like it's a fly.
That's how good I am, man. I'm okay. I see. The one thing I always say about JD, and I tell him this all the time, is he's a really good gamer, man. He's really good at games because, like I said, he can play the all of the FromSoft games that I struggle with. Sekiro, which is supposed to be one of the toughest ones, and Elden Ring he played on his own, and all of these really challenging games he's kind of got the patience for and the skill for, while I still struggle. We recently played, I'm just going to put this out there real quick. We recently did kind of a Past the Rock playthrough of Lies of P. And the reason I wanted to play Lies of P now as opposed to playing it earlier is because they came out with difficulty settings. So they had a challenging setting, they had a less challenging setting, kind of an easier normal setting, and then they had an easy setting. And I played on the middle easier setting, and I was having a great time, but there were still some elements of the game that I was struggling to get through. And then JD and I started to sit down and go through the game together because he'd already finished it. And sure enough, man, we were breezing through the game based on his experience and skill. So, if it wasn't for him, probably I think I would have gotten through the game. I just don't think I would have gotten through as quickly as we did or had such an enjoyable experience playing. So the guy's good,
Tarrus, tell him what you did when I left. That last boss. What'd you do, Tarrus, when you left? What happened? What happened, Tarrus?
So the cool thing about Lies of P is they give you some options if you're struggling with the last boss, right? So I chose the easy way out. I'm not going to tell everybody what the actual feature is because it'll spoil it for those who actually want to play the game. But I took the easy way out after trying to fight that boss over 3 darn days. Now, if JD, because at the time JD was, I think you were getting ready to take a cruise or something like that.
Yeah.
So you weren't available. And, I wanted to finish up so you and I could eventually get to the expansion, the Lies of P expansion overture. And after trying to fight that boss dozens of times, I was like, screw this, take this. Let's get this done.
Oh, man.
But the game
awesome.
is freaking phenomenal, man. I'm so happy I had the opportunity to play through that.
Oh, man, it's a great game.
But to get back to the state of play, the next game that they actually announced that I thought was really, really cool, and I think it's going to excite quite a few people because we did not see this coming. This is a live action John Wick game that's going to be coming to us. There's no release date on it as of yet, but the gameplay, and this is really just kind of a live action cutscene. Well, not a live action, but just kind of a cutscene of what the world building is going to be like in the game. But the one thing that I can say about the game that is positive is it's being developed by Saber Interactive. Saber Interactive knows how to make very good action games, particularly third-person shooters and shooter type of games. Doing hand-to-hand combat and melee might be something that's just a little bit new for them. But there are some melee elements in a lot of the games that they put out. And some of the games that they've actually put out has been, say, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, the co-op zombie shooter World War Z, which is one of the more phenomenal zombie shooters in recent memory. Most recently, they've got a game coming out in 2026 called Toxic Commando. So they've got a pretty cool pedigree of making some really good action games. So I'm confident that they're going to do a good job with this. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic, though, until we see some actual gameplay as opposed to seeing these cutscenes that they're giving us here. What do you think of this, JD?
No, I agree with you. I think it's right to be cautiously optimistic on it. I mean, movies to video games, the history of that. What excited me about this is I believe the end of the trailer, I heard Keanu Reeves' voice, and that was like, okay, that meant a lot to me because you see some of these game adaptations, movie, whatnot, and it's someone else or something different or not saying anything. But even if it's not, knowing that he's a part of it, that he's that true and real to the franchise, that he wants to be a part of every element of it, that meant a lot to me that I would be picking it up just for that. Very interested in the gameplay part of it. What would be the best type of mechanic I kind of assume to make a game like this really work in that world of the franchise. So I'd definitely pick it up.
The only thing that will make this better, or would have made this announcement better, is if the studio Slow Clap was making the game. Now, for those who aren't familiar with Slow Clap, they made a game called Sifu that came out a few years back. And the hand-to-hand combat in Sifu was kind of like a kung fu game that was a little more challenging, but at the same time, the combinations of moves that you could make were just freaking phenomenal, just awesome. And the whole time that I was playing that game, I was thinking to myself, man, if they got their hands on the John Wick property, it would be freaking amazing. And listen, if you're not going to get Slow Clap, then Saber Interactive is probably the next best studio that you potentially could get. So I am looking forward to this John Wick game, but cautiously optimistic until we see a little more what the actual gameplay is like. But man, exciting times, I tell you.
I could see that too, as far as the Sifu go. It was a great game. Also, too, we have the Arkham Asylum, that type of play style too. I can see that something similar to that with how this game could really work.
Yeah.
But looking for an element of something we haven't seen before.
Very, very good point. So the next game that they actually announced was one that I'm pretty excited about. This wasn't a new reveal, but it's more of a first look gameplay reveal because it was actually announced a little while ago. It's called Control Resonant. Now, for those who haven't had the opportunity to play the first Control game, you missed out. You can still go and play it. It's freaking fantastic. But Remedy Entertainment is the studio that made the Control game. They actually have made the Alan Wake games. They were the first developer that made the Max Payne game back in the day. But they've got a pretty cool pedigree of making awesome games too. And this one, while the first Control was more of a third-person shooter, this is more of a third-person melee action game. And you mentioned Prototype a little bit earlier, JD. This game actually reminds me a little bit of Prototype 2, where you're running up walls and, doing all that kind of crazy things, jumping in the air and doing all of that. It's got a kind of feel of, I don't know if you remember a
there
game
you
back in
go.
the day on PlayStation 3 called Gravity Rush.
That sounds familiar.
It's got a
That's
Gravity
not
Rush
coming
element to it, and you'll see what I'm talking about coming up here now, right?
Oh,
So you're just
wow.
jumping on different sides of buildings and jumping in the air and fighting combat, all awkward looking, and
up. Wow.
just a really, really cool.
Looks like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man fighting.
It kind of does, doesn't it? That's a pretty cool combination too. But the melee, the combat in this just looks great. And the story, the story is going to be wacky but brilliant because Control
Yes.
had a fantastic story.
Agreed. Yes. Very well.
But
Very well written.
but look at this. My gosh. Some of the weapons that you have like a kind of a sign,
sword, right?
a sign pole with concrete boulders on the end of them, knocking
Yeah.
people out.
And it keeps morphing, can change
Yeah.
to different elements. Yeah.
So
That's cool.
this looks really, really cool, man. I cannot wait to get my hands on this, or at least to find out a little bit more about what it's, what's going on with it. But it was really nice of this to show up in the state of play so that we could see a little bit more about what the game's about. So now, it seems to me that you actually played the first Control. What did you think of
Yes.
Control, and how does this
Oh.
look to you?
It definitely looks like it's the melee version of the sidearm she used. But no, it just definitely looks a little bit more immersive as far as the wall running, and I think she did a lot of gravity elements in that game. But this looks very detailed, in depth.
It does, and it feels more open. It feels bigger as well, because in Control, she was basically in the building.
in a building
The whole time. Yeah, and it was a very large, expansive building. Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of levels and areas in it.
I still wanted to leave the building. Like, can I go outside?
That
And this
would've
does
been
that for me. It lets me go outside, so that's awesome.
Yeah. Now, I will say to my shame, I never finished the game. I got all the way to I think one of the last levels and had a hard time getting past that level. And sure enough, I said, you know what? Let me put it down for a little while, catch my breath, and I'll come back to it, and never came back to it.
Seeing a pattern here, Taurus.
Like that's why I need a good buddy like you to keep me straight, JD.
I got you.
I'm telling you. But really looking forward to Control Resonant when it actually releases. This is going to be something special, I think.
Yeah.
But
That'll be a day one for me too.
yeah, man, I think it will. I really do think it will. Now,
I want to go back and actually do the ultimate version. That's the thing I didn't do. I didn't go back to do the DLC, and because Control did feel to me that it was a game where it'd be more difficult to go back and remember how to do it. So
yeah, the controls on it weren't very easy to do
they were not.
as you were playing. So
You
definitely
step
would
away
take
for a
some-
while. I understand. So I do understand why if you stepped away or whatever, then come back and finish it. It is not easy to get back into that game. Sifu is like that too. Like this, that's a day by day thing. Like if you take a couple days break, that muscle memory, it's not forgiving on replay value.
And in Control, I actually was at a boss level, so there was no way to jump in fighting a boss trying to remember controls, right? So I just decided to go ahead and put it down. I got my money's worth though. I played many hours of it. So, and it was like probably the last, maybe even more than the last quarter of the game. My wife told me that I was probably about to finish it if I'd gotten through that area there shortly after. So
You didn't ask for her help?
I should have, but she finished it earlier too, right? She finished it earlier too, so it would have been the same with her trying to help me with the controls because she hadn't played it in so long.
Too.
So, but I enjoyed my time with it nonetheless.
That's good.
So the next game that I want to chat with you guys about is something I'm kind of looking forward to. Hopefully, JD, this is something that appeals to you because it's a two-person co-op game that is in the same vein as a Dark Souls, Lords of the Fallen kind of style. It's called Crimson Moon, and it's made by a studio called Probably Monsters. It's a new studio. I've never heard of them before, but I like the aesthetic, man. It's fairly colorful, very mature, as you would typically see in some of these Souls-like games. But the combat looks very visceral and very well done. And some of the enemies and the bosses that you're fighting, like I said, reminds me a lot of how much I enjoyed Lords of the Fallen. But two-person co-op, look at how cool it looks and some of the things you can do together. Oh my God, come on now.
Okay.
So looking at this, how does this look to you? This is a new property. I don't think they've ever come out with anything prior to this one here.
Yeah, I like that element right there where it looks like he turns into a Valkyrie. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm a fan of the gameplay, how the graphics look, But at the same time, I got to ask myself, I mean, how are we in the market of Souls-like games? Are we oversaturated, or is this the beginning? Is this what's new as far as what we should be expecting year to year for different studios to try that type of element? The co-op part, I think starting off with co-op is going to be a win for me, a complete win in this genre here. So I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah, and you're right. I think we are oversaturated with Souls-likes, which is one of the reasons why I'm happy to see that a lot of these studios that produce Souls-like type games are now seeing the benefit of adding difficulty settings with a lot of these games that they're putting out. First Berserker Kazan eventually came out with a full set of difficulty settings from easy to, I'll say, normal to difficult, which is what folks were originally playing the game on. Liza P did the same thing. Where they had 3 difficulty settings, where those that didn't get the opportunity to experience how fantastic that world is got the opportunity to after they added those difficulty settings. So these studios doing that is really only broadening the player base of folks who are experiencing their games, which makes it more profitable for them as well if they do this. So hopefully this game falls in that vein too. But I like what I'm seeing. I like the color palette. I like the combat. I like the enemy types that we're seeing and some of the moves that the protagonist characters can do here. It looks pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I'm in.
So the next game that actually was at the State of Play is one that actually took everybody by surprise because it's based on a Korean fantasy book series called The Bird That Drinks Tears, which is kind of like a Korean Lord of the Rings, with creatures, unique races, world building, fantasy lore and that kind of thing. And the thing about it is the protagonist in the game. Now, us being from the West, we're used to seeing protagonists that are, birds, like eagles, hawks, and even crows. But the one thing that we never really see is chickens. You never really see a chicken protagonist in games. This is something different.
This is probably the answer to Fable. If you know the lore of that with the chicken chaser and kicking the chicken, I think this is PlayStation's answer to the
Getting payback. Getting payback.
Yes. I'm kicking that chicken no more. I'll tell you that much.
But the cool thing about this game is it's got God of War-like gameplay crossed over with like 1 versus hundreds Dynasty Warriors type gameplay, which is kind of cool. The world building and the lore looks pretty fleshed out. The studio that's making this is a South Korean studio, a South Korean publisher and studio, I think, called Krafton. And Krafton is making this in conjunction not only with their South Korean portion of their studio, but with their Montreal studio. This is Krafton Montreal that's making this game. But I got to give it up to Korea, man, to South Korea. They are coming up on the video game front, producing some fantastic games, man. From the first Berserker Kazan, which came out last year, that I had an awesome time playing, very well developed. World building was great. Combat was fantastic. We had Liza P, right? Liza P, the studio, that studio is a South Korean studio as well, and made a fantastic generational game that I think everybody that's into that style of play needs to play. And more recently, they're going to be coming out with Crimson Desert. Crimson Desert looks like it's going to be an awesome game, doing things that it's so ambitious that those who've been playing games for years and have reviewed games for years have kind of been in awe of some of the things that they're trying to do.
Yes.
Feeling that maybe it's a little overambitious. They don't necessarily feel that they're going to hit everything that they're trying to hit within the game, but the more that they played, the more that they've been impressed, because it seems as if they're pulling it off. So I'm giving it up to South Korea, man. And this looks like it's only going to add on to some of the other amazing games that are coming from that region.
No, I would agree.
really, really looking forward to finding out a little more about what this game is about. I mean, we had Black Myth Wukong that came out from China. China's on its way up with some of the games that they're actually producing. Phantom Blade Zero is going to be coming out hopefully later this year. That looks like another amazing game that's coming out of that region from China. So these Eastern developers, they're really stepping up their game, man. I'm really excited to see this.
You know, there's something about this game that I feel like should be taking me out of, but it's not. That big old chicken is looks normal to me, and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I grew up with Ninja Turtles, Battletoads, so this is behind for me. This should have been happening a long time ago. This should have been several chickens. This should have been a trilogy. So this looks normal to me. I don't know why, but.
Look, the character looks really freaking cool, man. Like I said, he looks like a chicken Kratos, basically.
Yes, I mean on steroids.
Seriously.
Yeah, he's jacked.
But I was watching.
He's hitting Taurus gym.
Say it again.
He's hitting Taurus's gym.
Man, he's beyond me. Let me tell you, boy. I'm trying to get here. But I actually watched a video of some things the developers are actually doing with this game, and some of the lore and some of the characters that they're creating for it. But these chickens it's like a whole race of different characters within the game and within the lore of the books. Okay. So it's a race of chickens that are just man. They're just badass, excuse my language. And some of the other characters that they actually showed in the video that they made, showing some of the character designs, were really, really awesome. So we'll see how it all plays out, man. The only thing that's kind of a turn off for me a little bit is the Dynasty Warriors 1 versus 1,000 element to the game. I've never really been big into the whole Dynasty Warriors series.
Same, and it is for lack of trying for me. I haven't tried.
I haven't tried them either, man. But I look at them and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things. Once you try it, it'll change your mind. But looking at it, it just never really did much for me, though.
Right.
Yeah. And then, to top off the evening, the announcement that actually got me excited and almost had me jumping up and down is this one here. Now, those that know me know that I am really, really big into this particular franchise. And the reason I'm big into it is because they have never let me down. Every game that they've come out with in this franchise has been a banger. And the fact that they're getting ready to do a remake of this game, of the trilogy of this game, 1, 2, and 3, has me really, really excited. And what excites me even more is they didn't contract, it doesn't look as though, I should say, because I don't know specifically, but it's looking like this is going to be developed in-house at Santa Monica Studios. It is a complete, true remake of the God of War trilogy. God of War 1 through 3. Not a remaster with updated graphics and improved frame rates like a lot of these gaming companies and publishers try to do. This looks like a true remake of the God of War legacy franchise. And what's also pretty cool is this guy here, T.C. Carson, who is the original voice of Kratos during the legacy God of War games, is going to be once again voicing Kratos in this new remake that they're doing. But that had me super, super excited, man. I'm really hoping that it plays kind of like a new game, like with what they did with Demon Souls. PlayStation did with Demon Souls back in the day with the Studio Bluepoint that they just recently closed. But Demon Souls was a fantastically designed game remake of the original Demon Souls that came out in the early 2000s. But what do you think of this announcement of the God of War trilogy remake, JD?
No, I think it's a good call. Making it a remake. I mean, I think that's what we needed for this franchise, not another, upgrade of graphics just for this gen console, but making a remake element, I think, is something that this series is really going to benefit from. And we've seen it so many times with your Last of Us and Elden Rings, and constantly it's just having a different take on it and making it a refreshing that God of War scenario between 1, 2, and 3. Separate from what we see with the newer, Corey versions, I believe. So I'm all in on this one, and then it'll really refresh some of the nostalgic feelings that I had back in the day. So for this game, so I'm all over it.
What about the fornicating mini games that you could play in the original God of War? Do you think they should leave those in too?
I thought that didn't somebody remove that? Didn't it get censored somewhere?
I don't think so, man. When I played, it was there.
I thought they were saying that they're going to censor that. I could be wrong.
I don't know, man. I haven't heard
somewhere.
They haven't told us about. They haven't told us much about what they're planning to do with the trilogy. But if it isn't in there, I don't know if we can call it Legacy God of War.
Oh man!
But these are different times. I will say that.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
But it'll be interesting to see what they do and some of the how they iterate and advance the combat mechanics in the game, because the combat was kind of it was before its time. I mean, it was doing some really, really cool things, man. I mean, everybody that I knew that played the God of War games, that like action, third-person hack and slash games, absolutely loved the Legacy trilogy of God of War, particularly God of War 2 and 3. 1 was a good introduction to the franchise, but they really stepped it up in Legacy God of War 2 and 3.
Well, would God of War be considered a comparison between the Avatar? Now, hear me out. You know how quick timing, I feel like it kind of more started that genre, and then everybody was doing it, and then they kind of flooded the market with it. The same thing with 3D and Avatar. It's like, I'm be curious how that's going to be for the remake. Is it going to be more of it, less of it,
That's a good point. I would assume, because quick time events are kind of an antiquated gaming mechanic.
Right.
They might switch it up somehow. I don't know if they're going to completely remove it, but they may come up with something new for it, because it's a remake. It's not a remaster. If it was a remaster, you would do the exact same thing. It plays the exact same way as the Legacy game that it's based on. But because this is a complete remake, they can pretty much do something different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we will see what actually happens with it. And that's why the fornicating mini games may not be there, because it's a remake and they may be doing some different things in there. But really, really excited about that. But then the way they ended the show, oh my gosh. They ended the show with a shadow drop, and those that are into God of War, boy, oh boy, were we excited. Let me tell you, as soon as I saw this, I was like, okay, let me turn on my PlayStation. Let me go ahead and take my money. Take my money.
And it did too. Yeah.
They really did. Yeah. So this is God of War, Sons of Sparta. This is a 2D side-scrolling God of War game that shows Kratos Kratos' experiences as a young man, as a young Spartan, kind of coming up within the ranks of the Spartan army. He and his brother, it deals with he and his brother Deimos is in it. And for a 2D side-scroller, it is actually really, really good. I put in maybe about 12 hours. No, I actually have. I checked my timing on this. I put in 12 hours of this game and just been having a great time with it. The only reason I stopped playing is because there's a game-breaking bug that happens a little later in the game where you lose hours of your game time due to this glitch. Okay. So until they fix that, I probably won't jump back into it. But man, let me tell you, prior to that, I was just having a phenomenal time playing this game and experiencing it. I've never really been the biggest 2D side-scrolling player, but this game has me hooked again. The last time I was this hooked was a game that came out in the early 2000s called Shank 1 and 2, made by a gaming company called Klei, K-L-E-I Entertainment. Love those games, but this one has had me about just as hooked. So JD, how does this 2D side-scrolling God of War, young Kratos game look to you?
I'm a fan of what the gameplay looks like, but I don't know if I'm ready for keto Kratos, man. He looks real skinny. He has no gains, no nothing. I mean, it's just skin and bones Kratos.
He's a kid, man. He's 13. He's 13.
I don't care about what Kronos was doing when he was a teenager. Let's get back with those fornicating mini games.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'll probably give it a try. Yeah, it's good. I believe what is it? TC Carlson is doing the narrating of the.
Yeah, he's
game,
actually doing the narrating on this. So that was another reason I
that's
wanted to
awesome.
support it, is because I wanted to
Okay.
support him. But it stands on its own, man. It's a good game. It's not for everybody. I will say that. There's some people that were expecting something a little more visceral from a 2D side-scrolling God of War game. They wanted something with Kratos maybe being a little older, being a little more aggressive, a little more violent. There are some. This is a very story-heavy game, so there's a lot of talking, setting up story, and setting up the objectives and missions in the game. So there's that too, that can kind of turn people off. But if you're into the world of God of War, of Kratos, those that are true fans of that franchise will absolutely have a good time with this game. There's no reason that they wouldn't. Okay. But that's the way that they ended the
awesome.
PlayStation State of Play. I gotta say, there were some bangers, man. There were some other announcements too that were pretty cool, but these are the ones that got me excited, and I think would have gotten the fellas on the show excited too. But man, I tell you,
Pick
boy,
it up.
just freaking awesome. So what we're going to do now, guys, is JD and I are going to talk about some of those games that we've been playing over the last month or so. Now, I'm going to start us out, but before I do that, let me go ahead and transition and get prepared for you guys.
You're listening to the Fun Waste of Time podcast.
Now, one thing that's actually been happening with me over the last, say 4 months or so, and JD knows this because he's been kind of a part of this process. Last year, I was doing a lot of upgrades on my theater, and I was participating in the movie group that the fellas had established. I actually joined them. They already had something going on, and they were kind enough to bring me in. And every week we were at each other's theaters watching movies and eating all kinds of awesome foods and that kind of thing. And it was just a really cool experience. And then with the upgrades that I was making in my theater was down quite a bit too, from time to time. So I didn't get the opportunity to game as much as I would have liked to last year. But later in the year, once I actually had my theater finished and work started to get a little more intense, I kind of had to back out of doing the movie group every week. And so what we did is we started to establish our meetups every 2 weeks, right? Twice a month. And based on that cadence, I've been able to not only have a fantastic time with the guys in the movie group, but I've been able to put more time into gaming as well. And one of the games that came out back in September of 2025 of last year that I did not get the opportunity to play at that particular time was a game called Hell Is Us. Now, Hell Is Us had a demo that they put out in September, a few weeks before the game actually released. And I played the demo. I played it on PC, I think, and I really, really enjoyed what I played. The cool thing about the game is it does not hold your hand at all. It is, there are no maps. There's no objective markers. You go to areas that you eventually have to come back to because some of the NPC characters that you're helping, you need to get items to assist them. And when you finish an area, you will not have everything that you need in order to complete some of those objectives and missions on that particular map. Once you get to the next area and you talk to more people and you do more exploration, you pick up additional items and additional pieces of information that can help you in the last area that you are in, take care of some of those characters, some of those mission objectives that you'd started. And the game is like that all the way through. There's a fantastic overarching story. Really enjoyed that. But one of the best things about this game that I really, really loved was the combat. What you're looking at here is Milk Dud number 1 sitting in the theater.
I didn't know if that was me or not because it's like, double brother Milk Dud.
Listen, Milk Duds are delicious. You know what I'm saying? And they are so fantastic. I actually love that nickname. But this is me sitting in the theater playing just kind of a segment of the game, showing what the combat is like. The combat is really, really fun, man. The cool thing about it, too, is there aren't a whole lot of bosses, but they're just enough for you to be intrigued with the story and not get bored playing through some of the other areas in the game as well. But it's not an easy game by any means, and it's not the type of game that someone who's faint of heart would want to play, because it doesn't hold your hand. The way that I had to play this game is I would go through an area on my own, right? I tried to do the best that I could, explore as much as I could, picked up as much as I could, listen to as much as I could in order to, maybe pick up some clues to some puzzles that may have been going on. But once I'd done that, then I'd go back and I'd watch a walkthrough, particularly in the game room, right? I'd have it on one of my televisions and one of my game stations, and on the game station next to me, I'd put the walkthrough on. And I would see what I missed based on what the person in the walkthrough did. So that way I could make sure that I completed an area and didn't really miss out on some cool things that may have been happening in that particular level of the map. But playing the game that way, I played this game for about, I think it said 47 hours was my end time, my run time from beginning to end on this game, which shows just how good it was. But this is the kind of game where if you come across a puzzle, if you come across a safe, if you come across a door that has things that you need to, combinations you need to solve in order to open it, you literally have to go through all of your inventory items, find where you think the information for that may be, take notes on what you're seeing there, go back to that level, and then see if what the information that you picked up is what you need in order to maybe open that door, that combination on that door, that safe, right? That's how detailed this game is when it comes to solving mysteries and the puzzle elements to it. So like I said, not a game for the faint of heart, but just a really fantastic experience. The game is called Hell Is Us. Highly recommended for those that are a little more experienced in games, or you just love games with fantastic worlds and great mysteries and having to figure things out. This is definitely that kind of game. So the next game that I actually played was a game that my brother actually contacted me about called Reanimal. Now, Reanimal was announced last year, and this game is made by the developers of another game very similar to it called Little Nightmares. And the one cool thing about this game compared to Little Nightmares is this was a two-person co-op game, while Little Nightmares is more of a single-player game. Man, the game was just freaking fun, man. It's a spooky game. It's not a gory game. It is a scarier type of game. I would call it horror because there's some certain elements to it, but it's more along the lines of being spooky than gory. So we had a great time playing this game. There are a lot of great levels in it. The story's really cool. The co-op elements, the way that you solve puzzles was really fun and really interesting. And I will say that the saying that two minds are better than one very much so applies when you're playing this game because it took both of us in order to figure out how to complete some of these objectives and some of these puzzles that were thrown our way. But the difference also between this game and a Little Nightmares game is there are some slight combat elements to it as well. And what I wanted to show here is me playing it in the theater, and the audio design in the game is just freaking fantastic. There's a lot of tactile bass in the game. All of your bed layer speakers, your Atmos heights, the imaging is just amazing in this game. And if you've got a really good video chain, the dark scenes, the darker elements in the game really, really stand out because the black levels in the game are just freaking fantastic. But really, really amazing game. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Really, really amazing game. Glad I played it. Really looking forward to maybe them making a sequel to this, because it absolutely deserves a sequel. How good level design, interesting characters, and the slight combat that it has to it makes it feel. So,
is this a game I can play with my 13-year-old daughter?
What was that, JD?
Is this a game I can play with my 13-year-old daughter?
Possibly. It's not horror. It's
Okay.
not a horror game. It's not a gory game. It's a spooky game.
The spooky game.
It's a spooky game, yeah. So if she can take elements of that then it's one that she might enjoy.
She might enjoy.
She might. I would.
Okay, who screamed? You or your brother, or both?
None of us.
Oh,
It wasn't that kind of
All
game.
right.
It's spooky.
said
Don't get me
spooky.
wrong.
You said
It is
spooky.
spooky, but it's not
No
that
jump
kind of
scares.
game. There aren't a lot of jump scares in
Oh,
the game, which is good. But there's a demo out on it. You can play the demo. The demo
Okay.
I think you can find it on PlayStation. You can play it there. It's on PC and so on and so forth. So definitely go back and check it out and see what you think. If you think that it's your daughter can take some of the more spooky elements of it, then it was a fun play. I really enjoyed it. He did. My
She's
brother
into
did
some
too.
cool stuff, so this looks like it's kind of her alley, if the rating is right,
Oh, this game is getting like 9s and 10s, bro.
Oh, I meant like the
the NC rating, the
NC rating,
yeah, the age rating. I got you.
yeah.
I got you. Now, the last game that I actually wanted to show you guys is me playing God of War: Ghost of Sparta. I told you typically the way that I play my games is I have my gameplay on the one screen, and then I have the walkthrough on the next. I had to play, I said Ghost of Sparta, Sons of Sparta, that same way. Because with 2D side scrollers, it's easy to kind of lose where you are and miss areas that you need to get to an objective marker. And there were some, like this here, there were some elements in this game where that can happen to you. So in order to make sure that I was kind of dotting my I's and crossing my T's and getting to the areas that I need to get to, I put on a walkthrough and would pause the walkthrough and play an area in my game and play the area in the walkthrough and see if we're hitting some of the same areas and see if I missed anything. And it was a really cool way to play. I had a great time playing it that way. But the game is just freaking awesome, man. Like I said, the graphically for a pixel art 2D side scroller looks great. The voice acting is actually really good. There's a really good story to it. You get the opportunity to meet Kratos' young brother. For those who have played the God of War games, you know that there was a scene in the original God of War games, the Legacy games, where you got the opportunity to see Deimos and what happened to him there. But it was just a really, really fun playthrough. I enjoyed it. And the game was only $30. So it wasn't really kind of any loss in that regard. The only issue, like I said, is the glitch that made you lose progress as you played past a certain point. When they get that fixed, if it's not too long and I can remember the controls, I may eventually come back and finish this one up. But those are the games that I've been playing. Let's go to JD. JD, what have you been playing, good buddy?
Well, I went on the obsession with Hades 2 probably some months ago, and I'm a big fan of that play style since Hades 1. Well, actually, there was a game 2 called Bastion. I don't know if it's the same creators, but
Bastion, yes, I remember that.
was big fan of those type of games. It's the system of, building your character, sorry, not building a character, but having a build. I'm going to go with this element, this god, their type of powers, and then you keep going over and over again, and you can expand the game, the world. I was a big fan of that. There was even a game that it was out too. I think it copied that type of format. It was a Ninja Turtles game. It's on the arcade Play Store.
Interesting.
And it's the same format, and I loved it just as much as Hades, and I would play that game obsessively too, as well. And then Hades 2 finally came out, but I think it was in like alpha or beta for a while, or it was just on PC, and it finally came out to, I believe, the Nintendo Switch. And that's what I've been using. I don't even hook it up to the TV. It's just in my hand. I'm obsessively playing the game. I was bringing it everywhere. Have a lunch break or whatever, and which is like 15 minutes. I do so much at work that I was playing it there. Just every opportunity that I had, I was just having a lot of fun with the game. I do like Hades 1, I believe, a little bit better, but I think it's more the ending. I didn't like the ending of this one. I was a big fan of the ending in Hades 1, but the gameplay element, I think I may have liked Hades 2 a little more, so I definitely recommend this game here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Playing anything else?
Yes, I am playing Neo. Just started that Neo 3. I haven't played any Neo games at all, but a buddy of mine said, you got to try this. No, you have to try this. His name's Tarrus. So he was like, hey, man, warm it up for me, all right? So I've been playing that, and my obsessive nature of constantly, I have to beat the boss. I have to figure this mechanic out. I have to have the strongest build. I play games like this, and some people may play the same way, to find and create builds that are so overpowered that it makes the game easy. So there's no game for me that's ever going to be super hard all the way. I'm not going to punish myself. I'll do whatever I need to do to build that character up over level. I don't care, to have that OP build. And that's what I'm doing on this, and I'm really enjoying what I've been playing so far. I think I'm like level 25 or something
Wow,
like that.
already?
Area. Yeah, and I'm playing in areas that are like level 30, 40, whatever. So I need to chill out.
You are that far into the game? I just recommended the game to him just a couple of days ago, guys. A couple of days ago, the dude is already on level 25. Are you freaking kidding me? But it's so funny too, because I told him less than a week ago, thinking that with work and with family and everything else, he may not have the time to get to it as much as he would probably like. And he came over to the gym to work out a little bit just after a few days. And I said, hey man, how are you progressing in the game? Oh, I'm thinking maybe he'll tell me he beat one boss and, still kind of working through the next level and whatnot. Well, I beat about 4 to 5 bosses, and I'm like, 4 to 5 bosses? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's just more about a routine, you work, kid
Listen,
time,
man,
they go to bed, play.
You're being too
maybe.
humble, bro. You're being too humble. Just say you're good at games. You know what I mean? You know how to play these things, and you're willing to teach young people and Padawans like myself, how to play.
You said young people. Reverse that. Yeah.
But the reason I recommended the game to you is because it's a co-op game. Neo, you can actually play co-op. And because we had such a fantastic time playing Liza P, I thought it would actually be cool if we played another Souls-like style game, the two of us together, to see if we both would enjoy the co-op elements of this particular game, because the game is getting great reviews. So I do think it would be kind of cool to check it out co-op. How do you feel about potentially playing the co-op?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Right. Wait, maybe not, but I'm almost there. I'm still building that OP build. I don't want to have you. I don't want you to experience what I experienced.
I don't understand. Why do you want to have the OP build when I'm coming in and my build is just going to be a basic beginner?
That's why I need the OP build, because you're coming in.
Oh my gosh, man!
I'm just saying. When you play those games, right? They make it even harder when you play co-op. It's not the same difficulty level, so there's some probably mechanic in the background when you have multiple people, and they make it even harder because you have a higher party. So
Well, see, I was thinking that we both would start out with beginner builds, and you would.
Oh, you thought that? Oh, you thought that? Yeah, no. So, I was telling you before,
you're not playing it the way that I thought you were going to be playing it, JD.
Here's the thing: if we were to do that, and we can do that, but you're going to be playing a boss for hours, and based on our Liza P experience, when I turned my back, man.
True.
When I turned my back, what happened?
Very, very, very true.
So I got to get a couple levels ahead of you, so we can work through those mechanics.
You know what? See, that's why you're the man. That's why you're experienced at playing some of these Souls-like games. So
he says I'm
good.
Take
your advice.
He says I'm good, but the thing is, he doesn't see what I'm doing to get myself to that level. When he was able to see me die so many times, he wouldn't say this.
Patience, though. Patient guy like me, as old as I am, like I said, I die a couple times. I'm putting it down. But I've been getting much more patient over the years playing these games, which is why I enjoy them so much these days. But playing these games can be like hitting your head on a wall over and over and over again, until you actually get through it. But I'm really looking forward to checking this one out with you.
Same.
But I'm glad you took the dive and are learning the mechanics and are enjoying what it is you're playing. So that's
I really am enjoying it, and I think it's made for individuals to play the game the way that I'm describing it, where you're working with the system. We talked about before, you have a full co-op mode, but when you're in areas, you see people who have like this red light, and it's saying that person died there, and it'll tell you what they died for. Similar games are doing the same thing, but this has a blue light as well, and you could use these cups, and that would allow you to have that person play with you, but it'll probably be their NPC version of that character. But you can also have that person come in from the real world or whatever, and play with you. So those people will be different levels. So that person that can help you can be level 5, and if you have enough of these cups, well, that person could be 15, 25, or 30, and it makes it that much more, probably maybe easier, for you to beat that boss or that area. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, I am so looking forward to jumping into this with you eventually. I'm going to purchase it probably sometime this week and at least get started on it and have you give me some pointers or some things that I need to do. Yeah. And then we can jump online, man, and you can show me what to do and what you've experienced up to that point. So,
for sure.
Awesome. Well, guys, that is the episode. I want to thank you all for watching and listening in. If you enjoyed what you heard here today, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the follow button if you're listening to us on a podcast, taking a walk, exercising, or maybe walking the dog. But thank you for listening in, and we hope to catch you next month. And next month, we're going to have the fellas back. Like I said, they just had some priorities and some other obligations they needed to take care of this month, today, or when we were supposed to record yesterday, but they will be back. But JD, thank you so much, my friend, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And like I said, you and I are going to be doing this a little bit more because we will be doing the home theater experience portions of the podcast coming up here in the next month or two. So I at least wanted folks to have an introduction to you, see how awesome you are as a person, and get the opportunity to remember who you were. So when you come back, they'll remember how awesome of a combination you and I make. So.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. You all take care. Bye-bye now.
All right. Have a good one.